Hello, and welcome to the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Program's core training. We are so happy you are with us today, and we are all looking forward to helping you develop and grow your local urban and community forestry programs. I am Carrie Sargent, the Urban and Community Forestry Program Manager for the New Jersey Forest Service. Thank you for joining me for Section 1, all about urban and community forestry in New Jersey. This is part one of two parts of this section, and we'll focus on answering what urban and community forestry is and the history of urban and community forestry in New Jersey. So, what is core training? Core training exposes you to the essential parts. It is the basic knowledge you need to create and grow local, self-sustaining urban and community forestry programs in New Jersey. Each part of core training will provide you with the roots you need to support your work with your local programs. These parts coincide with a curriculum for annual education and training requirements developed by the Rutgers Urban Forestry Program with the support of the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Program and made possible by the USDA Forest Service. There are 5 categories to this curriculum, and a well-rounded program should explore education and training opportunities within each of these subject areas. Category 1, understanding trees and forestry. Category 2, inventory and analysis. Category 3, young trees, planting and establishment. Category 4, mature trees, which is maintenance and risk management. And Category 5, tree program management. So now that we know what core training is, why are we here? It's all about the trees. We love trees. We love the way that trees make our neighborhoods look and feel. We love the shade they provide. We love the flowers, the fall colors, and just everything about them. Even the products they can provide at the end of their lives. Or maybe you are here because it's your job. You have to manage all the dead ash that are in your city or town. It's your job to make sure the Zelkova LA that provides the fall colors is a safe place for people to sit underneath. And you might have a natural forest in town that you want to use for an educational trail or want to reclaim land and reestablish forests, such as shortleaf pine. But no, it's about people. You're here because it's about people being where the trees are in all the places in our communities where we live, work, play, and learn. We are here to find a balance between the two. Depending on what type of urban and community forest you have, and keeping in mind the larger master plan goals of your municipalities and counties, how can the trees and forests in your community help improve the environment, the quality of life, and the health and safety of residents? The name of this field, urban and community forestry, can be confusing. When you first hear someone mention the urban forest, this is what you may think of: Jersey City. But in New Jersey, all towns and counties are urban forests. All the trees and forests within a local jurisdiction are the urban forest. They include urban parks, street trees, landscaped boulevards, gardens, river and coastal promenades, greenways, river corridors, wetlands, nature preserves, shelter belts of trees, and working trees at former industrial sites. So in New Jersey, this is an urban forest: Washington Township, Burlington County. This is an urban forest: Lambertville, a riverside community. This is an urban forest in Burlington County as well. And even this is an urban forest down the shore. All communities are technically urban in New Jersey because of our population density. Now that we understand that the urban forest is all the trees and forests within a defined geopolitical boundary, in New Jersey, that's municipalities and counties, what is a community forest? A community forest is a forest that's owned and generally managed by a community, the members of which share its benefits. As we define them, community forests are the publicly held lands that are forested or that have the potential to be forested. They can be of various sizes, but are often overlooked or neglected. We encourage and support active management of public forests for the benefits they can provide. Opportunities exist in managing these forests that can extend beyond the ecological values that typically come to mind. There is value in growing and maintaining forest trees to grow big and live long, to capitalize on their value in carbon markets to combat climate change. Wood can be utilized and natural regeneration managed and augmented. These are worthwhile investments based on the returns that are going to come back to your municipality or county over time. Wait, an aha moment. Trees and forests are the only infrastructure in your community that have the potential to accrue in value over time, so that investment in management brings in returns that can be valued and accounted for. Okay, now we know that community forests are part of our urban forests and that our urban forest is all the trees and forests within the defined area, in this case, municipalities and counties. So then what is urban forestry? We take the definition of urban forestry from the Dictionary of Forestry. It's the art, science, and technology of managing trees and forest resources in and around urban community ecosystems for the physiological, sociological, economic, and aesthetic benefits trees provide society. This is great. We are managing our local trees and forests for the benefits they provide over time. Let's just talk for a minute about these benefits. They are really remarkable. They are more than oxygen, habitat, and wood, and they are not just environmental benefits. Trees and forests provide benefits under each of the three pillars of sustainability: environment, social, and economic benefits. The environmental benefits are tied to the natural environment. Trees help clean the air, they help filter the water and mitigate stormwater runoff. They store and sequester carbon, they provide habitat for wildlife, and they help mitigate the effects of climate change and can actually help to store and sequester carbon and slow that climate change down. So those are the environmental benefits, which everybody is very aware of. The social benefits lead to healthy communities. These are benefits in public health, education, and recreation. For example, in neighborhoods where childhood asthma is a problem, if there are trees, the symptom of this asthma tend to be reduced. In education, there are studies that show girls learning in treed environments actually do better in school. And additionally, kids learning in treed environments have shown less side effects from ADHD. And of course, everybody knows the healthy benefits of recreating in areas with trees and forests. And finally, economic vitality. Businesses on tree-lined streets have increased spending and profits associated with them. And then trees also contribute to energy savings by cooling your house during the summer, especially if there's an air conditioning unit under the tree, and also blocking winds in winter. The cold winds are broken by the trees before hitting your house, and they can in turn save you money as well as your municipality. As we talked about in the definition of an urban forest earlier, that the urban forest is all the trees and forests within a geopolitically constructed jurisdiction. That definition can actually be seen as scalable, so that at the state level, we define our forests as all the trees and forests in the state. So as you look at your municipality or county, we look at the state. We're responsible for understanding what we have, what it's doing, and how to manage it to simultaneously work towards state level goals and objectives while providing the necessary technical and financial resources to assist your work towards your local level goals for trees and forests. The New Jersey Forest Service works to manage forest lands owned and maintained by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection's Natural and Historic Resources Division of Parks and Forestry. This is the state lands program. Additionally, the New Jersey Forest Service has programs for forest health, private lands of 5 acres or more, and urban and community forests. Through the U.S. Forest Service Inventory and Analysis Program, data on traditional forest land has been collected for decades, and we are on the verge of the release of data for Philadelphia and Trenton, which we can't wait to see, as it is part of the urban forest inventory and analysis that we are conducting in partnership with the Forest Service. So stay tuned for hot off the press urban FIA data in the next year or two. What we can tell you from the U.S. Forest Service inventory and analysis from 2015 is that forests cover, in the traditional sense, 40% of the land in New Jersey. And of that forested land, approximately 48% is privately owned, and 52% is publicly owned. You can see the breakdown of publicly owned land, 32% being that of the state, 14% of local governments, and 6% is federally held, publicly owned forest land. However, that is not the full story. Let's go back again to our definition of the urban forests. All trees and forests within a geopolitical jurisdiction. The 14% of county and municipal forested land that is within your purview to manage as home rules in New Jersey. Additionally, though, 48% of privately owned forest land all falls within the county or municipal urban forest. So maybe thinking about the role of local government as a management tool to utilize ordinances, permitting, etc., to help ensure that the urban forest stand of privately held forests and trees is healthy, safe, and providing the most benefits over the longest period of time. When we are able to roll out some data for you on the urban areas of New Jersey as it pertains to the federal inventory and analysis. Urban and community forestry is not a newfangled invention or science in New Jersey. New Jersey has an incredibly long history of state and local management of trees and forests. In 1893, the New Jersey Tree Ordinance Law gave towns the power to enact tree laws and establish shade tree commissions. From then to today, shade tree commissions of up to 7 members were created as an almost independent authority to manage the local tree resource. A little over a century after the first Shade Tree Commission in New Jersey was established and given power and authority over the management of trees and forests in their towns, things started to get litigious. In the 1980s and 90s, local litigation began to soar. Suits were brought against state tree commissions and their members. Even though municipalities showing palpable reasonability in managing trees and forests should have been covered through municipal or county tort claims, the fact that individual shade tree members were under threat and threatened threatened the very existence of volunteer commissions. Municipal managers were advised to disband shade tree commissions, and rapidly many towns started to do so. This meant that there was little active management of the trees and forest resources by local governments, causing decreased forest health and increased risks to public safety. The inverse is actually truer regarding liability. Playing the ostrich with your head in the sand to the management of the urban forest is not a good idea, because if you don't know what you have and what it is doing, then you can't mitigate risks and they can actually increase. So, no shade tree commissions meant no management and severe public safety issues. At the same time that this was happening in New Jersey, the U.S. Forest Service, for the first time, included urban forestry under the forestry rider of the 1990 Farm Bill. As a small aside, the federal U.S. Forest Service is housed in the Department of Agriculture, and at the state level, the New Jersey Forest Service is under the Department of Environmental Protection. While the U.S. Forest Service might have larger lands and are able to manage their forests for timber and pulp, New Jersey, by and large, does not manage our state forests for production, but rather we practice what is called ecological forestry. That's focused on deriving ecosystem health and associated environmental sociological benefits as the primary forest product. Back to the Farm Bill. It found that forest lands, shade trees, and open spaces in urban areas and communities improve the quality of life for residents, and the purpose of adding urban and community forestry to the forestry rider of the Farm Bill was to provide assistance through competitive matching grants to local units of government for urban and community forestry projects. At the federal level, if a state does not develop an urban and community forestry program, then municipalities and counties would not be afforded certain opportunities for funding to assist with these activities. In light of all of this, New Jersey had the foresight to develop a state statute to establish our state's urban and community forestry program, to authorize this program at the state level to support federal efforts. On December 5th, 1996, New Jersey became the first state in the nation to pass an urban forestry statute and establish a role for the state's urban and community forestry program through the New Jersey Shade Tree and Community Forestry Assistance Act. And we remain the only state to have a statutorily authorized state program for urban and community forestry assistance to local governments. Given the local litigation issues back at the time that this act was passed, and in addition to formally establishing urban and community forestry as part of the New Jersey Forestry Service, the Shade Tree Act also provides communities with a basis for liability protection for communities accredited with the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Program. So that concern that municipalities and counties had regarding shade tree commissions, active tree management, and liability was addressed through this statute. John Anlian will cover all of the legal issues and shade tree commission in his regarding shade tree commissions in his core presentation. The Shade Tree Act established the New Jersey Community Forestry Council, which is an advisory body to the state forester made up of 20 folks from New Jersey, over a variety of public interest areas, including community volunteers and local government employees, professional arborists and foresters, educational institutions, nonprofits, and electric utilities. This advisory council is also one of the requirements for states to receive federal funding, which also include a dedicated urban and community forestry program manager, hi, that's me, and compliance with federal reporting requirements. Finally, the Act also created the Treasure Our Trees license plate. The proceeds from this license plate go to a dedicated account for New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry to provide technical and financial assistance to local governments for urban and community forest management. So I'm going to ask you now to raise your hand if your town needs continued grants and technical assistance to support your local urban and community forestry program. Now, keep it up if you have a Treasure Our Trees license plate. If you put your hand down, you can go directly to the Motor Vehicle Commission website at the end of this presentation to order your plate. And if you are a tree care business, there are commercial plates available as well. Plates are $50, tax deductible for the initial order, and just $10 a year to maintain with your registration. So just go to treasureourtrees.nj.gov and you'll be redirected to the MVC. Click Order Your Plates, and it's that easy, painless, and your plate will arrive within a month of your order. This concludes the first part of the first session of 6 in the series for the New Jersey Urban and Community Forestry Program's core training. Again, I'm Carrie Sargent, and I manage the Urban and Community Forestry Program for the state. I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and we'll be seeing you all in Canvas and for the live sessions later this month. Thanks again for joining us, and enjoy CORE.